Over the years, Call of Duty has gained the reputation of rehashing the same style of gameplay over and over again. It almost feels like a tradition to see a new game once a year, and with each release we see some small innovations, but none that come close to those that solidified its reputation back in the days of the original Modern Warfare title. With Infinite Warfare, however, Call of Duty takes it to the stars to showcase military battles in the vastness of space. Infinite Warfare won't cause your jaw to drop in its visual flair. However, almost all Call of Duty games have made it a staple to be respectable in terms of bullets and explosions in an exhilarating formula. Though it's a small step up from previous titles, Infinity Ward does a good job bringing the franchise to space.
Today, the SDF is a war machine, ruled by its military. If a leader united that force, they would mobilize. Try to take our homeland.
There are moments where we find ourselves closely comparing Infinite Warfare to games like Halo in the way that it's presented. Additionally, characters in the game still look as good as they did in the previous Call of Duty games. The sounds of war still echoes throughout each mission, lending a very over-the-top, Michael Bay-esque feel to every part of the game. Infinite Warfare, surprisingly, gives off a good story that sets it apart from the other games in the franchise. Where the previous Call of Duty relied on its over-the-top cliché moments, Infinite Warfare retains that cliché presentation, but delivers a more relaxed tone as each character does not over-exaggerate the dilemmas they face throughout the game.
Gator. Captain's dead.
Went down with his ship.
XO?
No longer with us, ma'am.
All this happened in the crash?
Yes, sir.
So who has the con, Gator?
As the highest-ranking officer on board, I believe you do, sir.
In the future, all of Earth's resources are depleted. Thus, the United Nations Space Alliance is created to ensure that supplies from outposts from the entire solar system keep Earth sustained. You assume the role of Captain Nick Reyes, in charge of defending the UNSA against the Settlement Defense Force, who seek to destroy the UNSA. The story still retains what you've seen in previous Call of Duty games, but the characters give off a surprisingly memorable experience. Granted, it doesn't deliver storytelling like a lot of the more narrative-driven games, but the cast of characters make Infinite Warfare a refreshing campaign experience.
Lieutenant Reyes, I'm promoting you to the rank of Commander. You are now the acting captain of Retribution.
Roger that, Admiral.
Keep the enemy away from home. Godspeed, Captains. Top Cat out.
Up until this point, there isn't really any surprising changes to the Call of Duty formula, but the shocking revelation came from the game's campaign. For the most part, Infinite Warfare follows the formula of its previous iterations where missions are taken in the order of your choosing. Unlike those previous games, however, the narrative falls in line with the gameplay since you take the role of the captain, who oversees the entire campaign map, giving the game a very Mass Effect feel to the way the campaign plays out.
Die! I got him! Take him down! Bravo, straight point! Copy, good hunting out.
New difficulty settings are also implemented into the single-player experience. Quite notably, there is a YOLO mode, which means exactly what you think it means. If you die, you have to restart the game from the beginning. It's always great to see a franchise try to get into a different direction. And though it doesn't do an outstanding job, it is something we'd love to see more often. On the other side of the Call of Duty coin, the multiplayer in Infinite Warfare is disappointing. It feels more of a reskin of previous Call of Duty games, particularly Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. For instance, one of the newest features in multiplayer are the combat rigs. However, they are essentially just like Black Ops 3's specialist system where you get to choose your rig before entering a match, and each rig comes with their own specialty. However, as great as some of the new additions are, it's hard to talk about Call of Duty without even mentioning zombies. This time around, you play as one of 4 aspiring actors in a zombie movie. except that the actors face off against real zombies. It's just as enjoyable as the previous zombie games, but we can't help but feel that Infinity Ward tried to cater to a crowd that's new in the series by adding features like point sharing. There are a lot of new mechanics to be found in Infinite Warfare, and it's a direction we'd like to see Activision continue in their upcoming games. There aren't any big changes, but we can honestly say that it has been a long time since we genuinely enjoyed a Call of Duty campaign as much as we did with Infinite Warfare. If you're used to getting Call of Duty for the sole purpose of playing the multiplayer aspect, you might be slightly disappointed, but we encourage you to take a gander at the single-player campaign. Overall, there are some fun modes and cinematic moments in the game, but there aren't any big changes that make Infinite Warfare stand out amongst the crowd. It's still the same Call of Duty we've seen before, but the slight changes to the formula were the highlights of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
How many did you come with?
We're it.
What about the airship we shot down?
My men need medical.
You care about your men?